This week for my reading challenge, I finished the book Bushido, The Soul of Japan, written by Inazo and Nitobe. I saw this book and it has the best woodcuts and the coolest art, and the book is so awesome. I bought this for my own collection. I think this will look awesome. This book was published in 1900s. Nitobe went to Tokyo University, as well as Sapporo University. He studied in the Johns Hopkins University in the US. He also gained his PhD from an undisclosed German university. Nitobe is really interesting for his perspective on Bushido because his father was a samurai, his grandfather was a samurai, so he actually comes from the warrior class in Japan, as opposed to most people who discuss Bushido and samurais who were never a part of the warrior class, which I think is super interesting. So he was born in 1862. Feudalism was abolished in 1870, and the banning of wearing swords in Japan happened in 1872. Now, the book is a little bit hard to read because, well, it was written 120 years ago, so the language is a little bit old, but it can be hard to read, I've found, because of how well read Nitobe is. He makes references to philosophers and politicians like Herbert Spencer, discusses Nietzsche, Plato, Edmund Burke. It's not an easy read, despite only really being 80 pages long. The Bushido he discusses is influenced by Confucius, Mencius. There's lots of interesting references to Shintoism, and I've got some excerpts I'd like to read from here. Let me shut the window. So, first one is: Bushido, then, is the moral principles of which the knights were required to or instructed to observe. It is not a written code. At best consists of a few maxims handed down from mouth to mouth or coming from the pen of some well-known warrior or savant. How cool is that artwork? Look at that. Super cool. It's page 28. Stories of military exploits were repeated almost before boys left their mother's breast. Does a little booby cry for any ache? The mother scolds him in this fashion. What a coward to cry for a trifling pain. What will you do when your arm is cut off in battle? What when you are called upon to commit harakiri? That's the ritual suicide. We all know the pathetic fortitude of a famished little boy prince of Sendai, who in drama is made to say to his little page, "Seest thou those tiny sparrows in the nest? How their yellow bills are open wide, and now see, there comes their mother with worms to feed them. How eagerly and happily the little ones eat. But for a samurai, when his stomach is empty, it is a disgrace to feel hunger." So cool, so Spartan. Pilgrimages to all sorts of uncanny places, to execution grounds, to graveyards, to houses reputed to be haunted, were favourite pastimes of the young. Imagine this in modern day. In the days when decapitation was public, not only were small boys sent to witness the ghastly scene, but they were made to visit alone the place in the darkness of night, and there to leave a mark of their visit on the trunkless head. Imagine that. Final bit of reading I've got. It's a little bit longer. It's a discussion of harakiri. Two brothers, Sakon and Naiki, respectively 24 and 17 years of age, made an effort to kill Ieyasu in order to avenge their father's wrongs. But before they could enter the camp, they were made prisoners. The old general admired the pluck of the youths who dared an attempt on his life, and ordered that they should be allowed to die an honourable death. Their little brother, Hachimaro, a mere infant of 8 summers, was condemned to a similar fate, as the sentence was pronounced on all of the male members of the family, and the 3 were taken to a monastery where it was to be executed. A physician who was present on the occasion left us a diary from which the following scene is translated. When they were all seated in a row for final dispatch, Sakon turned to the youngest and said, "Go thou first, for I wish to be sure that thou doest it aright." Upon the little one's replying that, as he had never seen seppuku performed, so that's ritual suicide, disemboweling, he would like to see his brothers do it, and then he could follow them. The older brother smiled between the tears. "Well said, little fellow. So canst thou well boast of being our father's child." When they had placed him between them, Sakon thrust his dagger into his left side of his own abdomen and asked, "Look, brother, dost thou understand now? Only don't push the dagger too far, lest thou fall back. Lean forward, rather, and keep thy knees well composed." It's disgraceful for you to die falling backwards when you disembowel yourself. So they need to stay leaning forward, so it's easier for the heads to be cut off. Nike did likewise and said to the boy, "Keep thy eyes open, or thou mayest look like a dying woman. If thy dagger feels anything within, and thy strength fails, take courage and double thy efforts to cut across." This is the child, an 8-year-old. The child looked from one to the other, and when both had expired, he calmly half denuded himself and followed the example set him on either hand. How hardcore is that? An 8-year-old committing ritual suicide. This book is super cool. I really enjoyed reading it. I will need to go back to it because it is reasonably difficult to read. So I need to do some more reading about Shintoism and Confucianism and really understand the book. But check it out. If you've made it this far in the video, I just want to take a second to say the last couple of weeks of reading these books has been really difficult. There's a lot going on in my personal family life that have made reading the books very difficult. And because this is a year-long challenge, it would be very easy for me to just cop out and say that it's too difficult to do the books, to finish reading the books, I should say. But that's the whole point of a challenge. The whole point of the challenge is for it to be difficult, not for it to be easily achieved, and to not make excuses to not being able to do them. So I have had to pull some quite late nights to finish reading these books because basically I'm reading them the whole books the night before I'm recording these videos. So if you are still sticking to your New Year's resolution challenges, I salute you. It's not easy to go to the gym 3 times a week or read a book every week or something like that. So good luck to you. I appreciate you making it this far with the video if you have actually watched this far, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Check it out, Bushido.